Welcome to the Logistics and Global Supply Chain stream in the Explore, Do Business Jamaica Investment Conference. I am Michael Jarrett, Editor-in-Chief at Portside Caribbean. And here to have a chat with me on Jamaica as a critical link in the global supply chain is Jedrzej Mierzewski, CEO of Kingston Freeport Terminal Limited. Mr. Mierzewski was appointed Chief Executive Officer at Kingston Freeport Terminal in July 2021. As an innovative and analytical strategist, Jedrzej has worked on greenfield privatization and expansion projects, where he has built a track record in strategic planning and development, global port and terminal leadership, process analysis and improvement, relationship building, project management, and lean methodology. So ladies and gentlemen, please join us as we sit back and I'll have an informal discussion with our guest, Mr. Mierzewski. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So you've been seeing, like us, television images of port congestion, particularly in the southern United States. How are you as CEO of the Caribbean's largest container terminal? How are you interpreting those images?
Well, it is disturbing because especially for us, meaning for a port, for a terminal operators, any delays or any failures on the coming on time, it's creating a lot of problems for a terminal itself, for operation. We, as a service provider, we would like to give the best possible service to our client. But if the vessels are constantly late, changing rotation, so it's created a lot of problems for us. Not only problems, as such, but also financial problem because we have to have a containers ready for a next vessel because we are transshipment port. We have 97% of my containers in transshipment. It means that it has been discharged from one vessel, goes to another vessel. And then it is discharged, I know where it should go. So I place in the right place on a terminal. It's my planning so that when the vessel will come, I'm ready to load it. But what is happening? This vessel is canceled. Another one coming or it's late. So I'm getting a new containers and instead having a place which should be free by containers which should left already, they are still there. So I'm blocking or I have to move it. So it's a relatively high cost for operation if you look on the terminal cost of operation.
But we're talking about here congestion that is affecting near the entire world, actually.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying that I'm special, we are good, but we are not so good to be absolutely special. No, the point is that it's a problem everywhere because I think that the world have not foreseen such an increase in the demand of and the quality of movement, what has happened after the COVID lockdown. So all of a sudden, everyone has started to order a cargo. You know what's going on even on the line side? You see that all the vessels which we normally should go to the shipyard to be canceled, to be scrapped, now are back in service because there is no capacity. So it is also creating a problem for a terminal because we are getting an older vessel with some technical problems. And the third one is, which normally it is in balance in the import-export. So I'm full with empty boxes because the line doesn't want to evacuate because they prefer paying cargo, which I fully understand. But the containers which are sitting on my yard are taking my space. Right, so I have no place for a full ones and all this stuff. So it creates a problem for everyone, including the lines. And it's not that someone is well or not well organized or whatever. It's just a problem global because logistic chain is a chain. Exactly. So it's so strong or is so weak as the weakest eye, or it's link. Not in link. That's it. Because even if the others are very strong, but it's one link, it's destroyed everything. So that's what we have a problem. And we are facing all of them. So it creates additional pressure on the terminal operator, because we as a terminal operator, we can, to a certain degree, we can help. And we do. We are with the lines, we are discussing day after day. We are trying to find a solution that helps everyone, because we are agreeing to what to do to evacuate empties, what to do, because we know that there is not their fault that they are late. Because in ideal world, we have a schedule. We know exactly that Monday who comes on Monday to do all the stuff. Everything's run nicely, no problems, practically, right? But in the nowadays, you never know. You're waking up in the morning and you first checking your mails and say, who will come, who will not come, and all the stuff. So full of surprises. Welcome.
But is all this affecting your development plans? I mean, you would have had plans laid. COVID-19 was not expected. How are your developmental plans affected by what's happening now?
We are in a center place, right? But maybe let me go a little bit to the history, because opening a second line and the enhancement of the Panama Canal put a lot of pressure on us, in the meaning on the terminal operator, because we have known and we foreseen that the bigger vessel will come. The bigger vessel needs improvement of infrastructure of a terminal, bigger crane, bigger capacity. Then, the kind of a one-time load is much bigger. But just recently, we had the 8,500 moves per one vessel. It's not happening every day. So you can imagine the scale of the problem of arranging this operation in a relatively short period to move those 8,000 boxes. So it is a problem, and we have to fulfill with it. So it's done on a various platform. In the meaning, first of all, definitely one is the technical aspect. So the key has to be deeper, crane has to be higher, and you have to have a better internal organization. Second one is, we invest in a system, smart system, terminal operating system. We are just started upgrading the KFTL. We perfectly understand it. So we are heavily now investing in a new version of TOS, which we have. And it will be not a TOS. It's not even a TOS, because it would have a lot of future optimization future. Because as you can imagine, 8,000 moves per 2 or 3 days, it's not easy task without the real help of a software. So we would have the software, and our new software will have such a components like a primer, for example. Primer is a kind of a program in a program that optimize our movement, internal movement of our strata carriers. So what is happening if the container has to be loaded? The system is looking for which strata carrier is the closest and the free, optimizing road, right? It's the meaning that he assigned special equipment which is closest, that he calculates the distance in between to make sure that this operation is smooth. Second one is, for example, is auto stop. So it's optimized and helping us loading the vessels, because we plan the vessels. We are giving a general instruction. We are not giving general instruction from a line, but it is us who plan the vessel in our port. Mm-hmm. And it has to be according to all the rules and the stability and IMO segregation. There are many others. Definitely, the final say is always the vessel, and the vessel has to accept it, but we have to prepare it. And again, planning 8,000 container, it is something, believe me. And then, we have something like out of store. I have, we have another section or part of a TOS that cares of the yard. So it's planning the yard correctly. It's ensuring that we combine and that we have all the containers. Definitely, for example, for one special vessel in one place. That's what I was saying. It's called expert decking. So it means that the moment the crane picks up the container, The system is checking what is the next vessel, what is the destination, how heavy is this, what is size, but all this aspect, and then he's finding a right place in the yard that later on I don't have to touch.
Yeah.
As I just mentioned before, I will have to touch it because nowadays it's not fixed because it's changing so often. But it's not a fault. It's just we can't help it, but it is. But also the system helps us with this. We talk about even the appointment system. Even the local cargo is not huge compared to my volume. But for Jamaicans, for Jamaica economy, it's important that the Jamaican industry doesn't waste the time waiting for containers for delivery. So the appointment system is helping out, smooth operation on the gate. The trucker is coming, he's spending a minimum time on a terminal, getting in the box, and off he goes to do the another business. So we are looking on a way how to support the local economy because Jamaica is not huge, right? Our competitors are in a better position, meaning that we don't have in Jamaica what I call the critical mass. What is it? It's this critical mass of the local cargo that the vessel will come and it's efficient financially even to come with the only local cargo. It's not happen. It's not the case to Jamaica. So we have to base on a transshipment, on a service added value, and it goes to the logistics centers. And there is most probably another discussion, but not on this point. But yes, we are here. We perfectly understand the situation where we are, and we want to support the local economy as much as we can. We also invest in the automatic container position. So it's mean because to avoid the human error, right? That when the container is put it down in the yard, that the system knows from a GPS where the box is. So it's there are many other things that can be involved, but yes, that's how we're trying to go. And answering on your question, our flexibility, in the approach and the close cooperation with our client, meaning the line in this particular case, should result in a easier of this bigger problem because we won't solve it in one place, right? But we can kind of ease of a situation. Huh?
But you have to keep making decisions as problems arise. It appears that despite our best efforts and our best hopes for the immediate future, we still have no idea as to what is going to happen and what is going to happen and how do we plan for it. I think we're living in the gardens of hope, so to speak. Do you agree?
Well, but I'll tell you what, it's not nothing new, right? Maybe this situation, especially with the COVID, is slightly different. But in general, we never had this certainty about what happened next. Otherwise, no one has this crystal ball that they can look at it and say, I know it. I'm genius. That's not happening. You just make a decision based on your experience of the things which you have seen or you read or someone told you, or based on the data that you are analyzing. Because nowadays, what's the difference today and 20 or 30 years ago? We have a lot of data, right? We have a lot of data. It is available, and it's easy to get it. So you should be able to predict something. Yes, we don't know what's happened, and we don't know what will happen, but it is our role to be prepared, even for unknown.
What do you do with your longer term plans? I mean, you would have had long-term plans on the table, and in this moment of uncertainty and indecision, what do you do with those plans? Are you proceeding with your longer term plans, and what are those plans anyway?
Well, as you may see or know, that we are the third biggest terminal in the Caribbean after the Panama and Cartagena. We don't have as I mentioned already, this critical mass of a local cargo. But Jamaican government, widely and far-seeing, makes this initiative of a global logistic hub, which I have to say I'm fully supporting. It's really something that it's something that may change, because as you see, if you look on the Jamaican economy, and as I said, I'm only learning, so I may not know exactly, but what I see now, this dependence on the tourism, which is very sensitive to all the changes. It's creating needs for such a different income, for to do something different, to be less dependent of this sensitive tourist business. Now, transshipment. Well, transshipment is also sensitive on a difference, on a conjuncture or on a business changes, right? But if we combine a port, a terminal, with an efficient, well-established logistics center, that we would be cost-effective, and you know that this cargo will come here not only to be transshipped, but also to add value, then we eliminate this sensitivity, at least. So our plans, as I said, we are third one, and we want to be minimum third one, or we want to be a terminal of a choice in the Caribbean, because we are an ideal. If you look on the map, except the Panama, because it's the end of the canal, so okay. But if you don't take the Panama, we are in the perfect position. Wherever you go via Kingston, east, west, north, south, you name it, or direction. We are there. We are in the center. And any line doesn't have to have a dimension, so no extra cost, special extra cost. So we are here, and we have to be ready, and we want to be ready. So especially next year, you will see a lot of changes. You will hear it, not about everything I may already say, but we would invest in a new equipment. As I already mentioned about the new system, we would also move some cranes around our terminal to make sure that we are better prepared for a bigger vessel. So yes, we are getting ready. And 2022 will be very special year, that's what I can say.
Tell me some more about the equipment advancements and plans you have for expanding capacity and capability. Tell me some more about that.
Well, we are buying new Stratocaryos. We are moving the cranes. I'm not sure if you see my terminal before your eyes, but from a west pier to the south pier, we're moving the 4 cranes. 4 higher cranes, in order so the south pier will be really intense with the cranes, so we would be able to service the big vessel much quicker than we do right now. Let's say the short-term plans, right? The new equipment. We are also having new trucks, new trailers. So this equipment, new empty handler, this equipment is ordered or would be ordered very soon, and it's on the pipeline. That's in the long term. Well, as I said, we want to be the number one, the biggest one. So it all depends how the situation will go. But I can see, and I can assure you that the terminal link and CMA CGM, which is the main client, our main client right now, they foresee Jamaica and Kingston as one of the main assets. So because it is sorry.
You expect to do any dredging?
Oh yeah, we just finished the phase number 1. We have also 3. So we have now capacity 3.2 million. But on the phase number 2, we will increase it to 3.6, and then up to on more and more. So yes, it all. If we will see that we need it, then Why not? Definitely, because it's our business. The next point is, that the turning basin and other stuff, because today the vessels which can come, it's up to 370 meters. So as you know, the biggest one has 400 meters, right? Well, I have to say that we have an absolute fantastic cooperation with the Port Authority, Jamaica Port Authority in Kingston. And we are in a discussion, and then we even can accept those bigger vessels on a certain conditions. But I have to say that, this cooperation is just example of a cooperation between a public and private sector. I'm not sure, but I have heard that privatization of the KFT was kind of the best done privatization in the area. And well, I have the same feeling. We are heading to the same direction. We have the same goal. We support each other. And I have to say that I can tell you, I've been in different places. Yeah? And this cooperation not always is such a good one. That's I can tell you.
But you're talking about already clockwork efficiency, absolute dependability, 24/7. The kind of the service delivery that you have to do now, but that the future demands requires you to establish the kind of relationships like you have with the Port Authority with other players. Yes.
Well, we are open. It's a business, right? And it's all depends on the proposition. And if we start discussion and it will be profitable for both sides, well, there is no ceiling. There is no ceiling, right? And we can do a lot of things. I mean, because we are already in a talk or projected or really other construction logistic centers. Because what's happened. Look on the London Getaway, right?
Sorry, say that again.
London Getaway, right?
Okay.
You see, this is a kind of a merger of a container terminal with a logistics center. So this how the things are changing, because nowadays it's not enough to do only the transshipment, because as I said, it's too volatile. I mean, one day the line side goes to the different one because they offer $5 less, and on they gone. And then what you will do, right? So it's the problem. So in this moment that modern port are trying to create what we call it port-centric logistics. In the meaning that this container terminal it's in a close cooperation with the one or more logistic center. So they combine offer the much better service, right? And there are much more to do. Because can you imagine, for example, that if we create in Jamaica the motor assembly factory, I don't know, Japan's or something, and they will bring the parts here, we assemble them and we send. Fantastic, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where we should head as a country. That's what we should look at it, because our domestic market is too small. It will not generate such an income which we would like to have. But if we attract the foreign investors, because you see what's happening, we are in a central location. We have the English-speaking workforce, which is important, right? We have a government that supports those initiatives, right? We have now even legislations. According to the World Bank, Jamaica is the best place on the Caribbean to make a business, and I believe that it's a 6 to the startups and around the globe. So we have advantages. We should use it. Well, the others are doing the same because they see what's going on. It's not that they just keep their hands in the pocket and say, okay, let's see. No, they are actively also doing these things. So we have to be quick in the meaning, that time is important factor in this point. So we shouldn't waste too much time. What is also good. And I have just learned that, government and the parliament is working on a new customer. Well, it's important. It is very important because, a lot will depend how easy would be a container or goods movement between the port or terminal and the logistics center. Would it be easy or would it be very difficult? Because if it would be really difficult, we will not attract so many clients, right? So all those are really, really important. And I think that we have all good advantages. We just need to use them. Now, just to conclude, and Jamaica, due its size and location, should go forward as a logistics center to create a good added value and services. As I said, local market is small, and as COVID showed that depending on the touristic business, it's not enough. And as I mentioned already, and I don't want to repeat once again, but the transshipment is also sensitive. So, but the good logistics centers, they might be game changers, at least when we talk about the ports. Because you have a port, you have an airport, right? You have an infrastructure, and it's here, it's ready. And the one point which I'm not sure if anyone was looking at, but I already see it, is that when we create the workplace and a good pay locally in Jamaica, we won't see this outflow of advantageous, intelligent people, individuals, who are trying to find the better opportunities in the different countries. They're getting some, we train them, we do something there, and then all of a sudden they said, okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going somewhere else. So if we take all those aspects in one, well, I think we see a bright future.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know, I'm not sure if you are aware of it, but if you see the last, how we call it, movie, right? I'm talking about the James Bond movie.
Okay,
right?
Yeah.
Do you know that it was filmed in a KFTL?
Yes.
On our terminal?
Yeah.
Okay, but the time is no time to die, right?
Yeah.
No, it is not time to die, I can tell you. This is a time for a bright future. This is the time which we're looking forward to see the development and to see the changes. This is the right time. I strongly believe in it.
How does Jamaica compare with the other transshipment ports in the Americas and globally? How does the Kingston container terminal measure up?
Well, as I told you, the biggest disadvantage, because I will start with the disadvantage, is a lack of critical mass.
Yeah.
We don't have enough cargo for a vessel to come here just for the local market. So having known that, we don't have this anchor, which will keep our client with us. So we have to look around and we have to find one. So what we compare, I mean, there are two issues in it. If we compare to how the normal transshipment port does, it's not a big difference. Right? We all, as a transshipment hub, we all moving containers from one vessel to another vessel in a certain sense. There is no big difference. Practically, okay, a few are better and others not so good. But that's it. But we still move the containers. What is important for Jamaica, for example, for KFTL, we have one main client which has a majority, even if we not directly belongs to them, but CMA, CGM, it's our main client. And you will see around the globe that all big lines have their own hubs, and they run it, or they run by the subsidiary company, or with someone else, right? And this is a way to ensure that tomorrow and the next year and 5 years from now, or 20 years, that we would have at least our main clients here, because we are here that we are selling more than 12 major global lines in Kingston. So we have some support, right? But it's also important that we have support, so special one like CMACG. So this, I'm not sure I did answer your question directly. If not, just ask more. But the point is that we are here, and the transshipment business will grow because globalization and the war, it goes in such a direction, and we see it. That's why we have all those congestions, that this cargo flow will constantly grow. We like it or we don't, because not everybody likes globalization, but it's a fact of life. Now, the vessels are getting bigger and bigger. They cannot afford to go from here to, I don't know, Montego Bay, for example, right? Because it doesn't make sense. So we big hubs, and we are big hubs, we would be those central. So we will be those guys on a highway, 2, 3, 5 highways around the globe, and then the smaller ones, we call them feeder vessels, will always come, and then it will be distributed. So we will not disappear. We have a lot of job to do, but we have to be much better. We have to, because you can imagine the tremendous cost of those big, we call them mamas, big, huge vessels, right? It's every hour, it's thousands of dollars. So, every minute's count. When I was sailing 30 years ago, we stay in the port a week or more. There is no happening nowadays. It's hours.
Yes.
And that's it. And if you try to stay longer, no way. So that's how the speed, sureness, and because, well, those delivery on time, that was very good in the 2-3 years. Now they have a problem, right? Because if someone was putting all money on this on just deliver on time, but they didn't have anything on stock and all the stuff. So today, with such a production, they have a problem. So we have to all adopt to the effect of the situation which we have, COVID, and this kind of uncertainty in the logistic chain.
Your outlook for the future is positive. Eh?
Well, we grow. We see, even with all these problems which we have, you name it, vessels are not on time and all the time, we have our volume grow. It will not be kind of an explosion, but I strongly believe it's gradually growing there. And then after 2-3 years, I think even we will see much more bigger growth. So I'm very positive. I'm really looking forward.
You have specific plans for 3 years from now?
Yes, we do. I told you, I want to be number one. And I hope that in 3 years from now, we will have another conversation, and then I will tell you, yes, we did it.
Let me ask you, number one, who would be number two?
A good question. I'm not. Well,
let's look at it. We have Panama, SPRC, Cartagena, and Kingston, right? These are the biggies in the Caribbean, right?
No, don't forget about the Cusado, Dominican Republic. Don't forget about the Dominican Republic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, because Cartagena has a huge local market, huge, and it's a lot. So I'm not sure if we will ever can beat them in a. It all depends, right? Again, because I'm looking slightly different. Now, United States and the opening of a canal, it's a little bit spoil our situation, because the bigger vessels are going direct to the East Coast, which before it didn't happen. They need the transshipment, right? So what we need to do is to do the added value business, meaning, logistic centers. Now, if you look now at it as just as a volume in TU, I don't know. But the point is that if you will take a business as such, taking, combining logistics and the TU and the port, well, there will be also this game will be like like it is always. One time one will be better, second time will be another one. So it's but Jamaica is small, so that's why it has run faster than others.
Okay.
Should be, and you can do that, guys, because the Elaine Thompson proved it, right? She won twice. She won twice Olympic. So we can do that. It's not, so it doesn't mean that if we are small, that we are not important and that nobody have to look at it. I have a few examples from the history of on the terminals when I was working. So I started my terminal career on Tanjung Palapas, the biggest port most probably now in the world, and the terminal. Now it is, 15 or 16 million TEU. When we were starting, Singapore was laughing. Hey, what you guys do? You will forget. After 3 years, they changed their mind because we took their biggest client. It was Evergreen at this time, and the Maersk.
Okay.
So things are possible, Yeah. You only need to determination, and it has to be a support, because terminals alone itself will be nothing. I will tell you another story. I was developing the DCT Gdańsk terminal in Gdańsk. When I came, there was 150,000 TEU. Zero. Nobody have heard about it. Nobody knows what it is. When I was leaving, it was 1.6 million. Within 5 years. Why? We were good, that's true, but the government helped us a lot. Because the main point, it was that the main Polish import was going via Germany for a very funny reason. VAT. VAT, value added tax, right?
Yeah.
In Poland, you have to pay it up front on this time. So the importer has to buy goods and pay the tax upfront. When you take this same goods via Germany, you had 40 days to pay it back. So you bring the goods, you sell it, and then you pay.
Okay.
When we change it, that's what the things were started. When the government changed the rule, right? Mm-hmm. That the payment of VAT was delayed by 1 month. Everything's changed, and we took back Polish cargo from a German port. That's why we are growing so fast. And it was complete game changer. So it is possible. That's why I mentioned, for example, I know that the government works now on the Custom Act, right? So it is important because, the way how easy you can do the business and how fast you can turn the money around, it's important. And that's what we need to attract. And then we will attract the foreign investment more and more and more. And well, that's it. And we will be living in a beautiful Jamaica, beautiful cities. It's fantastic. So, by this COVID, I didn't have too much possibilities to go around the island. I still need to do that, but I'm waiting when this bloody curfew will be over and the COVID situation will ease. So I hope it will happen soon.
Listen, I so appreciate this interview. The discussion was good. I get a distinct sense that you're not just upbeat, but you're absolutely positive about what's going to happen as far as the post-COVID situation in the Caribbean is concerned. And I need to, first of all, to congratulate you on that spirit, but also to note that you seem to be making the right steps. And in the context of development, Jamaica needs to be making those steps now. We may be small, but our transshipment volume, containers leaving Jamaica, doesn't speak to our size, it speaks to our influence. And I think that is that's the bottom line, actually. How are we able, through efficiency and meeting expectations, how do we maintain our cutting edge? It seems to me that you're up to the task. You have a very positive attitude. Anything you'd like to say before we close this session down?
No, I will tell you only one thing. Thank you, Jamaica. That's it.
I didn't get that.
I said, thank you, Jamaica. I love it to be here. And let's do it together.
Thanks so much for making yourself available. Thanks.
Thank you. Okay,
Thank you. Bye.